that I talk with him. But he originally said he wanted to have an interview. And so let's get this set up. So, any questions that you have, please do bring it up on the chat. I'm trying to get this thing set up here as fast as I can. Let's see here. Oh, overlay. It's my stupid little overlay. Yeah, 30-minute timer. No, I don't need that. Although I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind having a 30-minute overlay. Hey, people, bees, you got 30 minutes. Alright, so let's deal with, as Brian K calls them, people piss. Seriously, Pop, you are an irritant. Alright, so let's get him on the phone since he insists on it so bad. He's yodeling away in the background, crying like a 5-year-old, and he said some stuff to me that really angered me. But at the same time, he said to me is, I would like to have an interview. Okay, we're going to have that interview. On my terms. Okay. I told him get his ass on here. Alright. So basically he is so some of you wanted a live stream anyway. So while we're waiting for him to call back, let's see if we can take a look at some of your questions at the same time. Let me get to the right screen here. How you doing, Sherry? Nathan Less Pizza says turn on the phones. Oh, we gotta deal with people peace first. Oh, someone's calling me on the phone. Hold on a minute. Just unplug. I can't reach it. His rent. He didn't come by yet. I have no idea when he's going to be here. As far as I know, he could be anywhere. He could be in Stockbridge. He could be in Great Barrington. He could be in Lakeville. He could be in Canaan. The reason I'm worried about the rent so much is, number one, it's a check. It's already written out. It's already cut. It's already prepared. And I don't want to have the check get lost in the system. Probably, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know either because Pop wanted to talk. Now, where in the hell is he? I think he got cold feet. Well, the thing is he's the one that said that he wanted to have a tour. He's the one who said, "Oh, I really want to talk to you because I felt bad for what I said. Oh, but I still want to have an interview too." Fine. So where are you? Huh? I mean, the reason I want all of you to hear this is he's I don't know, he's done things to Michelle that totally frosted Michelle's nipples. Big time. Yeah, he he does stupid things and then he wonders why I get all up and mad at him. So, do you think that Hangouts fixed the thing is so that when you go to Hangouts, it's gonna. I don't know. Where is my Hangouts app? Right there. Okay. Let's try to get Sherry in here. I have to be honest, guys. I don't know. Well, it's kind of probably be like a. What? Sherry. Sherry. Where's Sherry in here? She's called the jewelry lady. Oh, okay. Unknown. Ray, Michelle, Lumi, Stacy, Forever Consciousness, Even, Kirsty, Rachella. Oh man, so where's Sherry? Video call. I'm looking for video call. I can't find it. She changed her name again. She's still called the jewelry lady. I know that, but which one? No, that's not it. Oh, there's the other guy we want to talk to. Go ahead, Pop. You got the floor. And yes, it's live. And yes, it's the interview that you wanted to have. So, and yes, knowing him, he wants you to see his screen as he types at you. I can do that. Just give me a second. Oh, then he hangs up on me. Alright, see, he's. Alright, Pop.
I don't want anyone to see my screen.
I'm not screaming at you, I'm talking to you right now.
I don't want anyone to see my screen.
They can't see your screen. Look on your phone or computer. Do you see your screen?
Yes, because I'm on Skype. I obviously see it.
Right, they can't see you. Look on my screen. Okay, if you were looking at the live stream right now, you would see that they're just seeing the generic chat on the screen from other people. So, anyway, so right now the point is, Michelle and I have agreed that we would talk to you. And so now you have the floor to explain what in the hell is going on. Right.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Texting was not efficient. First of all, texting was not an appropriate solution. You suggested I text you? No. Because I wanted a chance to defend myself publicly because you made a nasty video about me the other day saying I'm a terrible person who's judgmental. I saw the video. You did not mention my name, but I know it was about me, right?
Yeah, but that's right. I did not mention your name because I respectfully accepted the fact that you had your own opinion.
I would mention my name because I would have told people.
Some reason.
But instead you chose not.
Right
who
now
you're
we're using too
talking
much
about.
bandwidth, I think. Well, I can't change that, Lou. No. Oh, actually, yes, you
See,
can.
now,
Hold on a
here's
second.
my concern.
All right. Let me just close some of these extra windows so we can narrow some bandwidth down. Go ahead.
First of all, I just want to conversation things out. So
Okay.
concerned me a lot. I know what you were trying to say in the video and why you were saying whatever you're saying.
Well, I thought it was pretty clear when they said what it was saying.
But I didn't understand what in the hell's name you were even talking about.
You mean to tell you Abraham didn't actually give you a log of what they told me? They basically said, in short, plain English, is that my way was the right way and that my faith system is flawed. That's pretty much
No.
what they said.
First of all, it wasn't Abraham who said it, it was me who said it. Now,
Okay.
Abraham, I want to explain who Abraham is.
Right.
Because, okay, Abraham is my childhood imaginary friend, and I would always speak to Abraham when I was little. And then one day I turned on YouTube and Googled Abraham, and I found a woman living in USA in another country who also spoke to the very same Abraham and gave the very same messages that I was getting. Her name is Esther Hicks. Now, this group is known as Abraham Hicks, and it's a combination of people, of 300 people, including Jesus Christ, Mohammed, Buddha. They're all members of Abraham.
Basically, it's a Congress.
Now, just because Abraham said that they disagree with your beliefs doesn't mean that Jesus said it. It just means that the
I didn't
majority of
say
Abraham
Jesus said it.
disagree with.
I explained that it was nothing specifically Jesus had said.
It was the congregation that voted on it.
Okay.
But Abraham wants me to speak. What I want to say, and Abraham actually wants to speak.
Go ahead.
What we want to say to you is Pop didn't mean to offend you. All Pop was trying to say is that you can be a bit closed-minded at times, and we just want you to be more open-minded to new ideas and new belief systems.
Okay.
Now, the main reason Pop got mad at you, and I'm going to speak on my behalf now. The main reason I got mad at you is because you were judging Madonna, and you judged her accidentally. You didn't mean to, but you judged Madonna as being this materialistic Hollywood celebrity when she's not. Madonna is a very spiritual human. She believes in God a lot. She prays a lot, and her songs actually have spiritual meaning. She's not your average Hollywood junkie. Madonna is a great soul. And I got very upset at how you were judging Madonna.
Okay.
Now, in your video yesterday, you said, judge not lest you be judged. Well, same goes to you. How do you think I liked it when you were sitting there judging Madonna, assuming she was this evil Hollywood maniac, when she's not? She's a very soul loving person. Now,
She also said, there are some times when I wish I could go blow up the White House.
I
Talking
said
about
that.
the fact that Donald Trump is president of the United
I
States.
didn't say that.
She said that about last year, 2016, 2017.
Okay, she has the same problem as me, anger problems, which means that sometimes her anger gets in the way of what she's trying to say. That still doesn't make her a bad person. It just means she has her own difficulties when she gets really angry. But the main reason she doesn't like Trump is because she sees him as a materialist, as a misogynist, as a sexual predator. That's why she doesn't like him, because she is just misinformed. It's not even her fault. She's just misinformed, and she doesn't have access to the information that Trump is not bad. She's
Speaking
just
of
being
access
misinformed.
to information, did you notice that Kamala Harris already conceded defeat and is giving up running for president of the United States?
Abraham told me that she still might have a chance to come back and restart the campaign if she chooses to. So she's not totally out of the question, and and more than likely Kamala will win the next election. I
Ross
promise.
Perot tried the same thing, and you know what happened, right? He shot his campaign full of holes the second time. He was doing good, and yet because he gave up, and then a couple months later said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to run after all." He actually lost out in the second time he ran for president as an independent candidate.
That's not, let me give you an example. Cornelia Nenova is the leader of the Bulgarian Socialist Party. She did a big election in June with a Bulgarian journalist called Elena Yancheva. After the Bulgarian Socialist Party lost the election, this is back home,
Okay.
Cornelia resigned as the leader. But a lot of people sent letters requesting she she remove her resignation and come back as the leader. So after all, when the whole party united and she gave her speech, she decided, I've chosen to cancel my resignation and continue after all. So she resigned, but then came back and said that she cancels her resignation.
Yeah,
That's
but that's
that's
Bulgaria, Pop. The United
but it's
States, people basically don't see things that way. Okay? When you say, oh, I'm suspending my campaign, that basically means you're out for good. Ross Perot tried to do the opposite, like your Bulgarian leader, and he did not do well in the first term. He did that.
have you
The
realized how
second
many
term
people
he
were
ran, he did a little bit better because he stuck through the campaign. He had 20% of the independent vote, which is amazing back in 1996, 1994, 1994.
but here's what Abraham wants to say. And actually, I want to say this. Let's drop Abraham for a minute. Let's talk to me. I'm telling you, as a psychic and as a futurist and as a visionary, I'm telling you,
Yeah, I
almost
will let
certain.
people call in, but let Pop finish first, okay? I'll get
Hold
ready for the
on.
call in.
I'm okay. I want to do a live session.
Okay.
I am telling you, as a psychic, the next president of America will most likely be either Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton. I can almost guarantee it.
The next thing you need to do is put a new battery in your smoke detector. I hear it being in the background. Yeah. Yeah, you should definitely do that. I don't know. I don't think Hillary Clinton's going to win. You know, I think it's going to be Tulsi Gabbard. I still think Tulsi Gabbard is the most likely
It
successful
is
opportunity for the
possible.
Democrats. I really do.
Let me tell you, these are. It's not going to be Tulsi Gabbard. I can straight up tell you it's not. It's. I'm telling you as a visionary, the next president will most likely be Kamala Harris. I can see the future, and I'm literally watching her announce that she is the next president. Kamala Harris is the only one who has a real chance. This is not my opinion. This is just what I can see through my spiritual eyes. That Kamala is going to win the next election.
Okay. Well, we put the phone number on the screen. We're going to take phone calls too. So if anybody wants to call, please be courteous, or at least try. Okay.
Okay, now,
Okay.
I want to explain something to you about your video.
Yeah, change the battery in your smoke detector, because I hate when they beep like that. They drive me crazy. It's worse than fingernails. I cannot sleep with a smoke detector that does that. That's why I keep a whole pack
don't
of batteries.
worry about it for now. I want to tell you something. Okay, listen. About your video. You said that I was judging your whole faith system. I wanted to clarify that I was not judging your whole faith system. I believe in Mother God and Father God like you and Sylvia Brown and Rebecca Marina do. I have almost the same faith system. I was simply offering a new prayer solution for you, but it's the same faith system, same beliefs, just offering a new style of prayer. And I was wondering why you were so opposed to trying something new. There's nothing wrong with the style of prayer you've chosen, but I was just saying, what's wrong with trying something new? Why are you so scared of trying a new style of prayer?
Why don't you describe to the audience what the new style of prayer is?
In Michelle's prayer system, and in most people's prayer system, you pray for what you want. You ask God, can I have this? Can I have that? You get down on your knees and you ask God. In my style of prayer, I pray in future form. So I pretend I already have what I want and I just thank God for it. Let's say that I'm praying to get a job. Instead of asking God to get a job like most people would, in my style of prayer, I pretend I already have the job and I just say, thank you, God, for this amazing job. Thank you, God, for this amazing salary. Thank you. I pretend I have it and I thank God. So I'm praying in the future form. I know it sounds weird and foreign to some people, but if you try it, I promise you, you will see results like nothing matters. Because in the normal style of prayer, and this is what Abraham Hicks teaches, in the normal style of prayer, you're putting all your focus on what you don't have, on the feeling of lack. In Abraham's style of prayer, you're putting your focus on being thankful and pretending you already have what you want. Because the way the universe works, this has been proven in holodynamics. It's proven string theory. It's proven the way the universe works is the universe gives you more of what you already have. But the universe can't differentiate if you have it or if you are just acting like you have it. The universe can only read your emotions. So if you display the emotions that you already have something, the universe will bless you more. Whereas when you display emotions of sadness and disparity, the universe is not going to give you anything because it's only picking up the lack. I'm going to give you all an example. I'm in a relationship or dating someone right now. When I was so focused on being worried and begging God to make the relationship work out, guess what? My prayers were ignored. When I started focusing on being thankful, being calm, everything worked out 100%.
All right, hold on, I got an incoming call. Go ahead, call you in here.
Hello, Michelle.
How you doing?
That's not me.
Yeah.
That's not me. Whoever you're talking to, they're pretending to be me.
That's you.
No, it's me, people of peace.
No, it's not, Michelle. It's not them.
Okay.
No, that's not me.
You guys duke it out. I'm not Gonna get in the middle of this one.
Why are you pretending to be me and making dad work for me?
Yeah, your doppleringing you.
Michelle, that has not been me telling you all this stuff. That's been somebody hacked into my account. They're pretending to be me.
Well, I only have one pop that has Skype.
No, they hacked into my Skype.
Michelle, I think you need to stop this caller.
Michelle.
Why don't you let the caller talk about it and explain? All right, Martin on the phone versus Martin on Skype. Martin on Skype is talking about spirituality. What would you like to say to Martin on Skype about spirituality?
Let me tell you something.
I want
one at a time, please.
Hold on.
Martin on the phone first. You first.
Yes. If you look into the studies by Karl Marx, he says that in order to gain, one must will for it. And I think it's important that we pray every day, Michelle, and I would never attack you or your religion. That's how you know it wasn't me. That wasn't me. That's somebody trying to make a bad name for me.
Okay, Martin Skype. Your response?
I am you. Dear caller, I am you and you are me. We are one. All humans are one and we are all connected. It doesn't matter if you're pretending to be me right now because you are me and I am you. We are all humans just connected.
Oh, dear God.
And we all make our own reality.
Stupid,
we all... Listen! We all create our own reality. So technically, I created you in my reality. Or you created me in your reality. But the reason you created me in your reality is because I'm a better, more advanced, and fuller version of you. I have new faith systems and new faith systems which are more advanced. I am a better future version of you.
This is gonna be interesting.
You manifested me into your reality, and I manifested you into my reality for different purposes. But you manifested me because you knew that I was a better, fuller version of you.
Okay.
I'm a homosexual.
Good for you. I'm a better, fuller version of you.
No, I'm a better, cooler version of you. Hey, Michelle, it's me, People of Peace.
Well, you created me and I created you because we all create our own reality and we all
God, after
control our
tonight,
own
I'm going to definitely need some aspirin, that's for sure.
You created me and I created you. And here's...
latest video.
Here's where it all gets funny. Michelle created me and I created Michelle.
I was watching it earlier and I put my finger in my butt.
Okay, Michelle, just cut this caller off.
No, actually, it sounds interesting. Let's let it continue. Because this is the kind of stuff that everybody likes. People are actually joining the conversation right now. Just go ahead.
He's saying stupid fucking shit.
So fine, they respond back with stupid fucking shit. You know how to do it. You know how to do it.
You know what? I'm trying to have a fucking intelligent conversation and you're just gonna let, bullshit retarded motherfuckers like this fucking interrupt me?
This guy's just a retard.
I'm sorry, but I'm on a
one
totally
at a time
level, and I don't have time for retarded. I put my finger in my butt.
Now, if we are gonna have a WWE SmackDown, or at least debate-wise, we're gonna have to at least make sure to allow the other person to finish. So, Pop Skype, finish your comment.
I was saying that I am a retard and I put my finger in my butt.
You know what? I'm out of here. This is just fucking ridiculous.
This is crazy.
All right, let's ask you something that's related to both you guys because me and Michelle, I understand that one of you is, well, Skype and the other was on the phone. All right, so we know that. What do you both feel about the concept of what Pop on the phone talked about called Hippopono prayer method?
As long as you put your finger in your butt while you do it, it will work.
I'll let Pop Scout and Skype explain it first. Oh, he rang off. So did he. Okay. He came up with a prayer that's supposed to be based on positive affirmations. He said it's based on the concept is that something like it says like, "Dear God." Okay, let's go back to Skype again. Where is he? Right here, right here, right here, right here. Okay. Okay, Pop. Now, could you explain? Alright, right now it's just you. Will you explain the Hippono prayer technique that you were talking about? I was going to see how the other pop thought about it, but unfortunately he rang off. So, before I mention it, I'd let you could explain it to the public.
First of all, I just want to say, give people the information. The main source of the law of attraction is a woman called Esther Hicks, who speaks to Abraham. In terms of Hippono, the main teacher online that you can find of Hippono is a woman called Mabel Katz. Mabel Katz was a banker in California. She was very educated, 2 degrees, very successful in life, but she was very unhappy. When she started using Hippono, everything changed around, and she always felt so positive and radiant, and Hippono helped her. Hippono teaches the same thing that Abraham does, and Hippono is from Hawaii. Hippono teaches us that we create our own reality, and we decide how people treat us on a metaphysical level. And as others say, we choose our own parents before we're born.
Incoming call. Go ahead, call in here.
Hi, Michelle. Sorry, we got disconnected.
Okay.
People of peace.
Michelle, can you just stop this fucking crap? Get this guy off. Like, cut
can you
this
just
fucking
Actually,
off.
this is the kind of stuff that the audience likes, Pop. And you could teach this individual something new.
You invited me on to have a normal fucking dialogue. I'm not.
So would
No,
you
I
continue?
Call in here with this
Excuse
guy.
me, Pop Skype. Would you please finish what you're talking about the Hippono prayer and Pop phone where you listen to what Pop Skype is trying to tell you?
Yeah. So basically, how it works is you have to imagine that you already have something because the universe only gives you stuff when you already have it, and then you put your finger in your butt.
Actually, yes, Pop Skype to explain, not Pop phone. Pop Skype, would you please talk and explain, continue what you're saying about the prayer method?
Hippono is slightly different than the law of attraction. Slightly because Hippono is it's actually a method. It's not a belief system, it's a method. Hippono is only 4 sentences. This is Hippono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. The main teaching of Hippono is that our God is not going to judge us by our actions. God is going to judge us by our thoughts. And when we have negative thoughts of judgment towards others, then we will also be judged by and destroyed by the same thoughts. But when we have positive, open, beautiful thoughts about other people, we will receive positive openness and God will bless us double. We need to learn to be more open. And anytime you catch yourself thinking a negative thing about the other person, all you have to do is recite Hippono. If you're in public and you're thinking something negative about someone or someone makes a bad impression on you, just recite Hippono in your mind. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
All right, now Pop on the
And
phone. You
there
want to
are
talk?
celebrities who
Yes.
use this. One of the celebrities who
Hi
uses this is
everybody.
actually
My name's
Jane Fonda.
Pete.
Jane Fonda
I'm
also
from
knows about
Canada
Hippono.
and I'm autistic, as you could probably already tell. Some of my hobbies include, but are not limited to, fingering myself in the ass, fingering myself in the ass while watching the show, fingering myself in the ass while reading the Bible. Thank you.
Your response, Popscape?
I think it's very sad that when I'm trying to have a regular dialogue about something serious and I'm trying to actually make good use of my time to help humanity, that we
Well,
have a
hang on
caller
now.
like
I'm
this
making good
acting
use
in an
of my
immature way.
time to help humanity.
Pop phone. Let Popscape finish.
Uh,
Go
When
ahead,
I'm actually
Popscape.
sitting here trying to have an adult. Yes, I'm an adult. I'm 18 now. When I'm sitting here trying to act like an adult, being an adult, having an adult conversation about a mature topic, and we have a person acting like a little infant and making inappropriate statements and just acting real silly, that's just disgusting. I actually want to have a real discussion, and we have
one
someone
time I
ruining it
got
for
jerked off
everyone
by
on the
an
other
old
side of the
man
line.
when I was a teenager, and it just kind of had me fucked up ever since. I'm
but
not able
Popscape.
to have sex with a girl without
Hold
fingers
on,
in my
Pop phone. I'm
butthole.
gonna finish something here. Popscape. Listen. That's unfortunate. That's the way it is in the real world every day. You're always gonna have bad people who will detract against you, no matter what you do. I mean,
And
it's not.
that's where Ho'oponopono comes in. Don't judge those bad people, but realize that you created them. I created this caller because of some of my insecurities, and I will destroy him eventually through my prayers. That's where Ho'oponopono comes in.
Do
When
you
you
want to know
take
why they call me Pop? Because I like to pop my fingers into my asshole. That's me.
Okay,
Martin
Michelle, can you
Carter.
just stop? Please just hang up on this guy. It's getting annoying.
Well,
Just stop. Just
I think
stop.
the
It's not
audience
even
actually is
funny.
enjoying it, Pop. You say you want to see my show take off. This is the kind of stuff that gets it going.
You wanted to have me on to do a psychic reading now and to talk about the prayers and the belief systems. Now, either we're going to have that discussion or I'm going
We
to
are going to
leave
have that
because,
discussion,
listen,
but we also
listen,
going to have people
listen to
calling
me.
in too, and they're going to
I
want to
am a
ask questions.
person.
Because this is your chance to actually do two things. One, explain your viewpoint. Two, explain to the people what you believe and how you believe. And three is to allow them to ask questions. Remember, you
Yes,
can.
they can ask. Listen, they can ask questions in the
Can I say
comments,
something,
but it's
Michelle?
very distracting when we have callers like this making stupid statements and, quite frankly,
Can I
disturbing my
say
mental
something, Michelle?
process of even attempting to answer the questions.
Oh,
Michelle?
I understand that, but
Just cut him off. Just cut him off. Like,
I
it's
just
getting
want to
my
say
annoying. Just
something.
question
cut him
for Pop
off.
on the phone: can you cut back on the background noise somehow?
No,
Michelle,
I just want to prove
okay, you know what?
something because if
Look,
that
I'm gonna
was the
leave.
real people
This is
of
just
peace,
too much. This is
he
just.
would prove it by putting his microphone by his butthole, and you would hear the sound of him fingering his butthole. I'm willing to prove it.
Okay.
I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go that far because I'm the real people of peace. I love communism and fingering my butthole.
Okay. FC just joined in on chat. Viper Colts joined in on chat. Rusty the Cat just joined in. Get off my desk, you big free thing. Alright. So anyway, I'm gonna do is let's free up the phone for the next person. Okay?
The person on Skype is an imposter.
Alright, so let's get back to the Pop on the Skype here. Oh my god. There's my cursor! Right there. Okay, it's just you now, okay? I ring him off for now.
Stop the phones.
Alright, look, we got people on FC is in chat. He wants to probably talk. I got a feeling FC may want to call into the Skype as well. Maybe.
Now, I want to talk to you.
Oh,
Here's the
Paul
difference
Domino says
between me
hello.
Okay, can I talk to you?
Yeah, I know. I just muted the phone, so yeah, we can talk briefly.
You kept asking me why I don't have a YouTube channel and why I don't make my own videos, right?
Right.
I'll tell you why. Because it's not worth my 2 cents. Unlike you, I'm a person who actually values myself. And I'm not going to put myself out there for people to make fun of me and bash me. I'm going to put myself out there only when there's people who actually respect me and what I have to say. But to put myself out there just to have people make fun and treat me like a dog, I'm not going to do that. And I don't know about you and why you've chosen to give yourself away for so cheap and just to have people step all over you. But remember what the Bible says. Don't feed your pearls to the dogs. Don't feed your pearls to the dogs. Keep your pearls.
Well, I don't.
I'm not going to take out my spiritual jewelry and feed it to the dogs of the internet. I'm really not going to do that.
Right. Well, I mean, the way I see it right now. Phone is off hook. No, it's actually on the hook. Let's turn the phone back on. Just because people do want to talk to you, Pop. I understand what you're saying, but people did want to talk to you and to others.
But not this caller. I want a different caller.
Well, hopefully it'll be a different caller. I don't know. Maybe it will be. I mean, I never know.
If it's not a different caller, I want you to hang up on the phones, and we're just going to stick to comments.
Isn't that kind of rude? You talk about me being rude? You want me to hang up on people? Without reasons? Go ahead, call your ear.
Hey, Michelle, this is Martina. How are you doing today?
Okay, bye. I'm done. Michelle, either hang up on this fucker.
No, don't hang up, Michelle. How are you, sweetheart?
Wait, let him talk for a minute, Pop.
Hey, Michelle, this is Martina, Martin's sister. I just wanted to call in and chat. Martin, no one's asking you to pull out any jewelry for the internet, but I mean, if you want to talk and come on.
I know it's Paul. I can hear it.
Some kind of entertainment value. You can't just be sitting around talking about communism. We want to hear your crazy story.
One at a time.
Fuckers to come on here and bash me. I've just about had it, and your show is below my level.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
This isn't Paul. This is Martina.
Well, I actually did pick up some. Whatever. I'm not going to argue with that. Anyway, so what's your question for Pop, if anything?
How many fingers, Pop?
How is he supposed to answer that?
I don't know. That truck can see how many fingers he can stick up his ass and tell me the number.
Well, he just rang off again.
Oh, fuck yeah, Michelle. How are you doing today? This is Paul. How are you doing, Michelle?
See, that's the thing. He wanted to have a conversation. He wanted to have an interview, and then what does he do? I have to deal with phone calls. Oh, I don't want to deal with phone calls. Goodbye. Plink. Hangs up on me.
Martin's a little attention whore. We all know that. He's just looking for attention. He'd spread his legs for the internet if he could find the
Well,
right
anyway,
website.
Paul, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good, Michelle. No snow yet, thank God. Thank you for not doing your sorcery. I appreciate that. Please keep playing World of Warcraft and do your sorcery on there. Do not make it snow this year. I'm very happy right now.
You guys, obviously, in the Sierra Nevadas got snow. It's not my seasons yet, but they got snow. Most of the country got snow. I think even northern Texas got snow.
Jesus. Stop your sorcery, Michelle. When do you start that? Is it your month? Is it your time yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep playing that World of Warcraft. Please don't do your rituals and stuff. I fucking hate snow, Michelle. I'm sorry. I know you're the snow queen, but I hate snow. I live in a house. I have to shovel this shit. I hate it.
Well, don't forget, technically, it's not Michelle's season yet. No, but I left a couple voicemails for the autumn store who dumped a couple piles on people's store stuffs. Anyway, seriously, but people did want to know if we could ever do a Wednesday show. And I was waiting for my landlord. He didn't come. Pop's back. It's time! Here you go. Go ahead, Pop. You got the phone again. Yeah. Is he still?
Martin, are you there?
Yeah, he's still there. Yes, you're still on the phone, Pop.
Martin.
Well, okay, there's Pop. Okay, Pop, you there? He's not talking. He's listening.
Playing a fun today. Finger in the grass all the my voice.
All right, I hear him. I hear him back.
Oh, okay, there he is. Okay. Thought he was maybe touching himself or something. That's fucking weird.
What?
Martin, what's going on? What are you coming on the show for today? What's the topic of the show today?
I can tell you it's not the top.
It's Paul Domino, Pop. Go ahead.
Hey, Paul. This is Paul.
So where's Skynet going to call in? I don't know.
Probably as soon as I get off the phone, which I should probably not tie up the lines here, because people are probably just going to get mad at me, so maybe I should just big you. So I just want to call and say, I didn't know you were live today.
You can stay on. I want you to stay on.
I'm talking in chat, though, so I don't tie up the phone. I know I wants to take some calls, so.
Stay on. I want you to stay on.
Okay. What's up?
One at a time, guys. I can only focus on one conversation at
What's up,
once.
Martin?
So go ahead, Pop. You speak now.
Okay. First of all,
He's still there. Go ahead.
so what do you want to ask me, Michelle?
Well,
Why do you want me to stay on? I'm going to get off Michelle so some more callers can come on, okay? I'll message you later. I'll keep watching the stream and I'll message you later on Discord.
actually, I have a question for Skynet, but he's not here right now. Earlier,
I'm going to hang up. I'm going to hang up so he can call in. I'm going to message him and tell him to call in, okay?
Okay, well, here's the question or comment that Skynet said to me earlier about NATO.
Sure.
And I said I compare NATO to the alliance in World of Warcraft, which includes the United Nations. Basically, I don't like either one. They're both for losers.
No. I would like to speak to you as a psychic and as a visionary. I can honestly tell you that the United Nations is a very positive organization that has done a lot for the world, and so is NATO.
Oh, did he hang up again?
I got a positive information that Pop just rang off again.
Jesus. What's going on over there, Michelle?
And I'm not even that good of a psychic. Oh, actually, no, that's pretty obvious. He always does that. No, but as far as United Nations go, no, the fact is, okay, just like the Alliance. What is it about the Alliance in the World of Warcraft, the United Nations, and the NATO? One big, cohesive, governing body ruled by a monarch, or in this case, by a group of people. Okay, we're the Horde. The Horde are individual groups that refuse to be under one body rule. Period.
Yeah.
You get it. Okay.
I get it.
FC says only Pop would think the UN and NATO are positive things. It proves how clueless he is. Why do you think I don't like to play? Why do you think I do not like to play Alliance on
That's
World
true.
of Warcraft?
I've seen you land on that one.
The only reason why my two characters, Vanya and Bashara, are actually Alliance is in Classic is I don't like the undead. Sorry, I don't want to play the undead.
Yeah.
That's.
It's like all these. All these fucking zombies, man. It's, I don't know what's happening, Michelle. I might have to go over to fucking Pop's country there and become a Canadian here. I might be heading towards the border myself and go and get. Do you think he'd marry me so I can get dual citizenship over there?
What's that?
Do you think Pop would marry me so I could become a Canadian? Do you think he's 18, right? I could marry Pop, right? Do they have gay marriage in Canada? I want to marry him and become a Canadian citizen. Like America's just turning into a clusterfuck. I don't know what to say. I'm going to Canada.
It's funny. Did you hear that Justin Trudeau was laughing at Donald Trump behind his back, along with the French president at a NATO meeting? You know what Donald Trump did? He basically gave the equivalent of a finger and says, "Sorry, we're not staying. We're going back home to Washington."
Right.
Because that was like a total discourtesy from two other heads of state, basically making fun of America's representative.
You talking about when Trump was in London the other day?
It's like all these Zoomers have boomer envy. What does that mean, Skynet?
Are you talking about when? Are you talking about when he was in London the other day, Trump?
What's that?
Are you talking about when he went to London the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was in the UK. Yeah, I've seen it on the news.
Yeah, I just saw the news, and of course, that's kind of disrespectful for that people to do that to anybody in any head of any state. Oh my God,
right. Doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or whoever it is, He's a world leader. He's a world leader. All right, Michelle, one last question for you, and I'm going to let you go, sweetheart. Are you going to be doing any World of Warcraft?
I got a question for Skynet, but unfortunately he's not on the phone, so I can't ask him.
I know, you got to let him call in. I'm just calling to ask you, Michelle, if you're going to be doing any World of Warcraft tonight. You going to be doing any streams tonight?
Yes, I am going to be doing some World of Warcraft tonight.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely tune in for that. Listen,
I'm going to make an educated guess. It's already 5:27. I'll be starting about 6 o'clock.
Okay,
so,
cool. I'm sorry to tie up the phones, guys. I do apologize. I'm going to freeze.
But I do have a question for you. I have a World of Warcraft question.
Oh, I don't.
This is not a new question. This is an old one that keeps coming up over and over again.
Go for it.
Do you think the High Elves should become allied races?
I don't know.
The High Elves, which
their
eventually spawned the Blood Elves. But there's a group of the High Elves called the Silver... Was it the Silver Crest? Silver Crown or something? Yeah, that basically screwed their own people and actually tried to murder all their own people. And they were pro-alliance. Do you think that those High Elves... Because everybody on the line says, we'd like to have High Elves.
Yeah.
And like I said in today's video, I said, look, you can have your High Elves, but just be aware that I play a Blood Elf.
Yeah, right.
And since it's a game, if I see a High Elf, he's dead meat. Because
Go on.
it's
Go on.
unless it's somebody I personally kind of like, then I might let them
For
go.
sure. All right, that's how I feel. I'm with you 100%, Michelle. 100% I'm with you, girl. But I'm going to free up these phones again, Michelle, and I'm going to keep watching this stream, and I will definitely tune in later tonight, okay?
Right. So that'll probably be about 6 o'clock at the earliest.
Perfect. I'll make a drink and
All
watch you. All right,
Okay.
you take care, Michelle. Have a great rest of the stream, girl.
right. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye.
Yep, bye-bye. Yeah, the United Nations NATO was created originally to stand for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, specifically was for the Cold War. It was created, or the beginnings of it started right after the World War II, originally with the Allied forces. In fact, most of the NATO members are Allied forces. So the find let me in says Fook. Fook what? Go ahead, call you in the air.
Yellow, I'm calling about your Craigslist ad for a free massage.
Alright, what?
Your Craigslist ad about a free massage.
I
from
don't have
twins.
I don't have anything on Craigslist.
It says here to call this number. It says Michelle and Lumi, 2 young, hot, and ready to go twins looking to give free.
Sorry, that's not me.
hand
Have a nice day.
massages.
Oh God, we're gonna go with that now. All right, so Skynet, why don't you give me a call? Why don't you get Skynet on Discord? You could try. You gotta constipate your network. Nothing else is new. Oh, okay. Fine. Let's fire a hose in the network while we're at it. Well, the funny thing is that OBS seems to be a little more patient about that than FFmpeg is. Every time I do this with FFmpeg, it's like up your nose with a rubber hose and twice as far with a chocolate bar. Seriously. I mean, you... Go ahead, Claudia, on the air.
It says, we will rub you down, even your private parts. No purchase necessary. Just show up to 112 Main Street, Apartment 9 in Winstead,
But I
Connecticut.
didn't say anything, and I didn't post anything
So-
like that.
So do I just
I
knock
didn't
on
post
the
anything
door?
like that, thank you. Okay, so yes, Discord is up. If anybody wants to talk on Discord, let's post it. Most times, I don't get a chance. Go ahead, call you on the air.
When it says
Okay, well, let me get this thing on here. Yes. Everyone, we are on hash general. Is that right? General voice chat. Alright. Enter. Got it. Go ahead, Chloe, in the air.
I'll be there in probably.
I'm sorry! Stop! Okay, oh my god. Alright, so let's just turn the phone off for a second so I can focus. And got a feeling it's going to be kind of busy in Skype on Discord in a bit. So, yeah, we're on Discord right now. Let's kind of get saucy. I'm kidding. Oh, you just took the chat out of the phone. No, I didn't. It's just... Oh. It's a stupid glitch with the... Wait. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I just saw him a little while ago. Means that the Zoomers want to keep the Boomers' mindset. What do you mean by that, Skynet? The Zoomers want... In fact, there's a lot of things that the Boomers don't even understand. Actually, the Boomers have don't understand a lot about what's going on with the Millennials. Generation C is a little more in the know, as Jay Multimedia J says, but the baby boomers most of the time seem to be a little bit out of touch. Why? Because when the boomers were successful in the 1960s and 70s, we're talking when they're in their 20s. Okay, things are good. Cold War, lots of U.S. production, great. Um, Generation Xers came in, which includes my generation. And when I was in my 20s, we had Ronald Reagan was in. There was a lot of investment opportunities in business, Wall Street, things like that. Reaganomics was in full swing. But unfortunately, compared to the baby boomers, the Generation Xers didn't have the same level of productivity. We ended up basically getting, we started to experience the first of the hard times. No, it was not fast times at Reality High. It was hard times at Reality College. By the time we actually got into into workforces, a lot of the baby Generation Xers were like going on to school through student loan debt, got stuck with these huge debts they could not even pay off because the jobs are going to China and overseas. Oh, but that may change because of the situation that the United States has decided and created a bill and says we support the Hong Kong protesters and we also recognize Taiwan as its own country. And the result was is both basically sent China onto basically having a hissy fit. And we already had the trade war with China. Now it's becoming a Cold War with China. Yeah, which means that China is not likely to encourage companies to ship products to the United States, saying we are now an enemy of the state. Right. I will turn the phones on. Okay, now the phones are on. Okay? Yes, that's absolutely true. The situation with China is more than likely is not going to allow exports to go to the United States directly. It might go through one of its trade partners indirectly that works with the United States, but you know what that's going to mean for Chinese products? They're going to be more expensive. Because the more hands and the more import, exports, and everything, it's going to mean that cheap Chinese goods, instead of being shipped directly from China to the United States, say, for example, may go through China to Britain or into France or Germany or other countries, then be put on a container ship, relabeled, remanifested to go to the United States. So, the 10-cent transistor that you would have bought, it's more like 3 for 10 cents, something like that. Right. It's going to cost probably close to 3 transistors for 25 cents. So, I wouldn't be surprised if manufacturing companies such as Motorola, Fairchild, Semiconductors, and others are going to consider start remarketing and remanufacturing products in the United States because they'll be cheaper. Mr. Last says after World War II, the infrastructure of Europe was destroyed and it took a long time to rebuild. We're the only game in town, so we became extremely rich. That did not last forever and the wealth was not safe. Correct. Exactly. Oh, Pop's back. How long will we stay on the phone? I don't know. I got a little betting game out, Pop. How long are you going to stay in the chat? Right now it's just you and the people in Discord and maybe I think you just won the bet. You think so? Yeah, I think you just did. You didn't stay on very long. Oh. Just get lucky to have been born. Yes, that's absolutely true, Mr. Laugh. Absolutely true. But maybe, just maybe, we may see the millennials might get lucky and be a part of a new Cold War with China. After all, you don't sell transistors and integrated circuits, circuit boards, electronics, stuffed animals, toys, dolls, cheap trinkets to your enemy, now do you? No. In fact, I got a feeling what's going to happen is that companies in America are going to end up having to source all that stuff from another country, because China is no longer our friend. China has got our name on its douchebag list. So, I got a feeling you're going to see a lot of American companies are going to be scrambling to find new suppliers. Pop is a terrorist. I just heard him planning an attack. Heads up out on the wire. He's closer to you than anyone else. Not really. He's on the other side of Canada. That's like as close as Michelle is to Skynet. Or to Paul Domino. Actually, I'm closer to Paul Domino than Skynet. Mr. Left, hope all is well with you, bro. Pop is obviously a terrorist. Well, I don't know about that. But obviously, you want to cover some questions that anything that has nothing. Alright, Michelle, what's the latest bet? How long is Pop going to stay on the phone? 5 seconds. Go ahead, Pop.
Hey, how are you?
Let's see if you stay on the phone for more than 5 seconds. If you don't, I win.
Hello?
Okay. So right now it's just you, me, and Discord. Right now there's someone on Discord talking right now, so.
Okay. So, what I wanted to ask you is this. Why don't you like the United Nations and NATO?
You're getting a little bit too close to your microphone. It's a little hot.
I have a question. Why don't you like the United Nations?
Why don't I like the United Nations? The simplest reason is that you have a centralized government body that is trying to determine the policies of every single country in the world that is a member of
It's not.
Let me finish. You asked me to explain. And honestly, it's best for the individual countries themselves to regulate and come up with their own policies that work for their own people because they know their people best. The United Nations is just like the United States Congress. We've talked about this once before, where the individual states, in this case country states, are basically told by a centralized bureaucracy that they have to follow the centralized bureaucracy way, or they receive the highway, or in some cases they don't even receive a highway. So
No.
that's the reason why. That means that the people in the areas that are the countries or the states of the United States do not actually get a chance to talk to their elected or not elected officials. That's the one reason why the United Nations is not a good thing. It's too top heavy. Too much power concentrated into one place.
Now, I am a visionary. And just as you have your own spiritual gifts, I have mine. Here's my question. Would you like me to give you my opinion on why I support the United Nations?
You might as well.
In my opinion, it's not fair to compare the United Nations as much to the European Union and NATO. And it's not fair to say that the United Nations is top heavy, in my opinion, because it's all the decisions are made by the individual countries. It's kind of like Abraham. They vote, and whatever the vote decides is what the countries adapt. So it's not the United Nations that makes the choices. It's the countries within the United Nations who vote together to make the global decisions.
Out on the wires, I'm sorry, Forever Consciousness says NATO and the United Nations are working together to bring the NWO, and anyone with half a brain who actually looks into it will come to see that they are the scum of the earth. They bankrupt countries and bring in unauthorized troops to strong small countries that they are sick. That's what FC says.
Um, I agree to a certain extent, but I don't think it's fair to compare NATO to the United Nations for the simple reason is that there are many countries who are not members of NATO, but are members of the United Nations. And
Or members
actually,
of the
if you
European
listen,
Union.
listen, listen, if you look at your history, there's cases where the United Nations has actually stood up against NATO and against the EU for the local people. In the Iraq War, the United Nations actually took a stance against NATO. And there are times where the United Nations has taken stances against NATO, so it's not fair to compare. There are members who are not members of NATO but are members of the United Nations, such as Russia and China. So they are not necessarily working with NATO because it's more neutral than NATO.
Okay. What do
So
you
I don't
think?
think it's fair to compare NATO to the United Nations. I see the United Nations as more of a neutral, positive organization that doesn't want control but just wants world balance and world peace, while NATO, on the other hand, is a war organization that wants to promote war and control. So it's not fair. So one is positive and one is controlling, or
Okay.
one is neutral, and one is more. The
Why is the
United
United
Nations is
Nations
neutral.
pushing so hard for Agenda 2030? And why has the IPCC, which is a part of the United Nations Agenda 2030, not only been proven time in and time out that they are not using accurate data and are actually trying to use population control measures that are not necessarily even needed, because the fact is that climate change, i.e., which is usually associated with global warming, is not even happening. And yet, the individual
Um,
countries are being pushed into something of Agenda 2030 that they do not support.
Actually, if you look at who voted on the United Nations, the governments that were elected by the people, most of them, 80% of them voted in support of the agenda, including Russia, including China, and including many non-NATO members. Even North Korea supported agenda. So it's not just NATO, it's most of the world wants to implement this agenda, and it's the governments who the people elected that voted in the United Nations to make the decision. It's not the top heavy. The United Nations didn't even propose Agenda 21. It was proposed by the members, such as Canada and USA, and then the other members just agreed
Yeah,
that it
but the
would be good. But it's not the UN that's the
Intergovernmental
problem.
Panel of Climate Change was using bogus data.
But I
Okay?
want you to listen to me. It's not the UN that's the problem. It's the countries within the UN that get to vote and make the choice. So if the countries within the UN want to stop Agenda 21, they have to go in and vote right. The problem is we have politicians who want to leave the UN or not even attend the UN, like Trump, the Trump administration, and then it becomes a problem because we're not even attending the UN, or when For example, a Trump secretary dropped out of the UN Human Rights Commission. When you're not even attending or you're dropping out, you are actually giving power to the other countries. If you are against Agenda 21, you need to go in the UN and vote against it. Don't be silent. Don't leave
Excuse
the
me,
UN.
but Pop, there's two things. One, FC wants to
The
say,
UN is a
positive
democracy.
organization, question mark. Are you out of your mind, Pop? You have no clue what you're talking about. Everything you're saying is mainstream propaganda. I fell for that crap when I was younger. Right, okay. Number two, individuals in the individual countries do not have any voting authority in the United Nations.
They
You
do,
cannot
because,
vote
listen,
you cannot vote for a representative for the United Nations that is appointed by the government. That's think about when we
but
had
no, you're missing the point. The people get to elect their government that elects the UN. So indirectly, by electing your government, you are also electing your UN representatives.
Hey FC, if you want to join in on the conversation, the phone number is on the screen. If you want to talk on
Look,
Skype, we can talk
the
Skype too.
UN doesn't want to push anything. All it is it's a platform where the countries get to come in and vote to make a decision. This is a message if any world leader listens, which they're probably not. But if you, as a country, are against agenda whatever, you should be voting in the UN.
Do you know one of the reasons why the United States is sick of NATO? Because the
Yeah,
NATO
they're not paying.
forces are not paying their fair share of the tab for defense. And Donald Trump said that to Angela Merkel. Pay up.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, and it's America's fault. Because the reason that countries don't pay is because the American government has always secretly wanted to control the world. And because of that, they basically told the other NATO members, if you keep quiet and if you let us control your country, we won't require you to pay. Which Trump is trying to make the changes and say we don't want to control other countries anymore. We just want them to pay, and they can defend together if they pay their fair share. Whereas before the policy was we get to control your country, we get to control your bases, and in return you get to pay less. Which that's not fair because basically what America was saying is they can buy off other countries. And the only thing you get in return is paying less. I'm sorry, that was an unfair trade-off both ways.
I'm not aware. I agree with you. But let me just read the Pop what FC says. Pop, all these countries are in on it together. The Kim Jong Un is a Freemason, by the way. He is a boogeyman to scare the hell out of people. Enemies do not exist geopolitically. It is all a ruse. Out on the wire, it is very true that he says the same crap all the time, and clearly he refuses to look into the reality because he believes the mainstream's talking points. Out on the wire says the only enemies we have in the world are the big corporations, the elite, who make war. And yes, you're right. Out on the wire, this includes Google.
Have you realized that the United Nations, the European
It's
Union,
working with the big
no, I
companies.
want to talk. No. I want to speak and I want you to listen when I speak. The big organizations like NATO, like UN, like European Union, they're the only thing protecting citizens from the large corporations. The European Union actually is suing Google, is suing Facebook, and is suing YouTube, and is protecting the rights of Europe against these large, monstrous organizations. The only thing left that can protect our countries from the monstrous corporations is our global voice in the EU Parliament and in the global UN Parliament. That's the only thing left that can
The
truly
one
protect
thing
us from
that's
these
saving
monsters.
us from the major corporations, and only California has the equivalent of this in the United States. In the European Union, you have the GDPR. The GDPR requires that the companies, i.e., Google, Facebook, and whatever, have to show you what your data is being used for, how it's being used, and you have the legal right to
Yes.
get the data.
Listen,
Only California
listen.
has the equivalent of
I
GDPR.
want you to listen to me. What you just proved my point. You just defended the EU, and that yes, there are negatives to the European Union, but there's positives too. One of the positives is that the EU does have a commission that defends the rights of the individual against the corporation, which is a very big positive for the countries to have more resources in fighting the large corporation.
Well, you do realize right now that Google in the United States are hiring union breakers, right? Because you got the own employees of Google that want to become unionized. And so the country is using union breakers and scabs specifically to prevent the
Let me
formation of
talk to you.
unions.
The
Which,
leader of the party, the European Socialists and Democrats is a Bulgarian by the name of Sergei Stanishev. He is the only one and one of the few ones that has proposed that European Union should sue Facebook and Google, and he is right. And but haven't you realized that the EU has done a lot to protect the citizens against the corporations? For example, fluoride. The EU uh, um, banned fluoride. They banned fluoride, which is very good. Um, they also banned or required labeling of GMO foods. So there's two examples right there where the EU is protecting the rights of the citizens against the corporation. Hello?
well, the
Hello?
point is
Did
that
you hear? Now,
everything.
Michelle, can you listen? I want to talk to you. Can you at least agree halfway with me that um? Can you hold on? Can you at least agree halfway with me that there are positives to the EU?
There's some positives to EU, and the fact that IG Metal is taking YouTube into European court under the concept of false self-employment. There is a little more power of the union of the IG Metal in the European courts than there is in the United States. In the United States, Google is hiring
So
union
that the
busters
EU and
to
you agree
destroy
with
the
me that in some
opportunities for
cases the
anyone to be
EU is
unionized.
actually listen. Do you agree with me that in some cases the EU is actually protecting the rights of the citizens of the people against the
FC, you are
corporations?
100% right. They work with the Economic Forum, for example. The United Nations works with the World Economic Forum, as well as other organizations. And guess who is part of the World Economic Forum? A lot of the big guys.
But you're missing my point. Yes, I get it. The Um, you're missing my point. My point is this: if we got countries like America to leave the United Nations, that would not be helping the cause, because that would just be removing your power from the global parliament. It's better to remain in the UN and at least have a voice than to totally leave and hermitize yourself.
Yeah. Out on the
So
wire
even
says FC says the United Nations works on behalf of corporations. In my uh, LMAO, laughing my ass off. Out on the wire said the United Nations is a corporation. They own NATO, military contracts anyone. Yeah. Do they own NATO? Well, they certainly have got them in their pocket. Yeah. FC said, Pop, let Michelle finish her points. Why do you keep cutting
yeah,
her off?
I'm not cutting anyone off. Now I want to talk about Eritrea. And I want to ask Michelle a very direct question about Eritrea and about Cuba. How come is it when Eritrea said no to all the foreign charities, such as the economic charities, the Red Cross, they said no to all charities, and yet they're one of the cleanest and safest and best healthcare in Africa. Same as Cuba, they said no to all foreign support, and they were booming. So in some cases, you're right. When countries go their own way and say no to these garbage, false charities and economic forms, the local economy does improve. But you're also brainwashed because, on the other hand, you were attacking Maduro. Don't you realize that Maduro is the only thing protecting the Venezuelan people from the large foreign corporations? He said no to foreign aid because he already knows that the foreign aid is just a mask. It's not there to help, it's there to destroy. Same as with Cuba. Do you know what happened in Cuba? Do you really know the true case? What happened back in the 90s with Bill Clinton? a, a plane was going to be sent to Cuba with alleged support workers, and Cuba was accused of shooting down the plane with the support workers. What the American government and media failed to tell its own citizens is that that plane had terrorists on it that wanted to bomb Cuba and cause trouble. The American media was acting like the Cuban government shot down a plane of support workers, when in reality, the Cuban government was defending itself from a dangerous plane. So that's why you should be defending Maduro, because it's the same as Cuba. They are one of the few countries that's fighting against what you described, the large imperialist powers. And sending foreign aid does not help a country. It's usually a mask to take them over.
Okay. Skynet says, how can you harp on capitalism or suck socialism dick, yet support a big business like NATO? Miss Laugh said, excuse me, by staying in the UN, you give it authenticity. If one country leaves, others will trickle off, and everything will be fine. Europe is still fucked, though. It's going to become the Middle East. Yes, I agree.
No, this
Unknown
is what
Wire
I'm
says,
trying to say.
LOL,
Don't listen
good
to me.
point, Skynet. Mr. Laugh says, Pop talks too much. Unknown Wire says, LOL. Canada has been used, Cuba has been used in political gain since the 1950s.
No, it hasn't. Ever since the 1950s, get it right. Ever since the 1950s, it stopped being used and it stood up for itself and its own sovereignty. You need to get that right. But here's what you fail to realize about the UN. If one country leaves the UN, you will be like a hermit where the rest of the world will be against you. So if America did want to leave UN, this is what I would say to them. You need more than one country to leave. If maybe 20 or 30 countries can leave, then you're talking. But unless you already have 20 to 30 allies ready to leave with you, you're just going to end up leaving and demonizing yourself against the rest of the world. That's my main point.
Okay.
So you're
FC
leaving
says,
void by leaving.
Michelle, ask Pop if he believes in 9/11 mainstream point of view.
No, I don't. It was an inside job to start a war against the Muslims and to demonize Muslims and to start a war against the Iraqis. And it absolutely was an inside job, and it's been proven that it was.
Yeah, I agree it's an inside job. I don't think it's.
But here's what you fail to realize. Donald Trump is part of this inside job because the way Trump is demonizing Muslims and Muslim immigrants, the way he's demonizing them, he's playing into the whole agenda of 9/11. He's not against it. He's working right in for it by demonizing these Muslims.
Out on the wire says Kennedy was killed because of Cuba Pop. Yes, he was. And Miss Celeste says, I would rather be a hermit on an island than at the bottom of the ocean because I stayed on a sinking ship. FC says Cuba is in the NWO as well. Independent countries do not exist. Correct. In fact,
that is not true. Here's
no,
the problem
it is true because they're also in the United Nations.
Yes, but what you don't realize
yes,
is this.
That's right. Once you're
I want to talk.
It's just like the mafia, Pop. Okay, once you're in, you're in. All right, that's what it comes down to.
One small chance to speak. Listen, I want one small chance to speak. Just a small chance to get a word in, alright? Now listen. Let's take things for example like this. If Cuba left the United States control, which it did, and it also left the United Nations, then Cuba would be all alone in the world and everyone would demonize it. At least with the United Nations, it has some sort of sense of belonging. Because if it didn't join the United Nations, it would be totally alone in the world and everyone would demonize it. So, to a certain degree, at least the United Nations gave it some validation when Cuba left the United States control.
No. Anybody who's a signatory of the United Nations, especially, is basically wrapped up in their little fingers. That's the problem with the United Nations. No individual country has free self-governing because they all, especially to the UN Security Council, they all work together. That's the problem. And some of the newest members of the United Nations are pro-Islam countries and anti-Israel countries. For example, let me finish. One of the biggest problems was in 1940. Let's make sure I get this right. It was right after 1946, I think it was, when the United States defended Israel to become its own country. Okay? Every other Islamic country since has wanted to wipe both America and Israel off the face of the bloody earth. And now that the fact that Islam is spreading throughout Europe through the migrants and insurgents, Europe is no longer a Christian country bloc. It's a
First of
mess.
all, can I talk?
Now you can.
First of all, I can very easily debunk everything you just said. Second of all, you are playing right into the agenda. You are playing right into the hate agenda. Let me explain something to you. First of all, the reason Europe is getting all these migrants isn't just the EU or Angela Merkel's fault. The reason the EU is getting all these migrants is because of NATO and because of all the wars. The fact that America went in and bombed these Muslim countries, then where else would the people go except Europe? So it's not. So before we judge the cause and say, oh, EU is letting migrants in, let's look at the effect. The reason there's migrants in the first place is because all these wars and colonialism damaged the countries in the first place. And that's the same thing that the French president said. If we want to stop migration, what we need to really do is stop all these wars. Second of all, Israel. Israel was created in 1948, yes, but it was created on Palestinian land, and there was people already living there when the Israelis came in, and they did not fairly treat or recompensate the locals. Israel became larger and larger every year until the locals were pretty much shoved into Gaza and into the West Bank. And when you watch a documentary made by an American journalist called Rachel Corrie, I believe, she went to Israel to defend the locals who were having their homes bulldozed by the Israeli government, and she got killed in Israel by a truck because she stood in the way of the Israeli bulldozers that were pushing the Palestinians off their homes and dividing families. What the Israeli government did was very evil. They did not fairly recompensate the Palestinians, and Israel has no legitimate right to exist unless it had recompensated the locals, which it didn't. Second of all, the UN is not necessarily pro-Islam, but it is not going to be pro-Israel either, because Israel is a country of only 8 million people, while the rest of the Middle East is huge, and their rights matter too. Israel doesn't get to decide everything anymore. We are looking at the rest of the countries too, and all the bullying Israel has done. And you want to talk about global control. If you look at all the rich banks, all the Freemasons, all of America, who owns the large corporations? Who owns the rich bank? That's right. The Zionists, Israelis do. The Jewish organizations of Israel, they own the large banks and corporations. And that's one thing the United Nations is coming to realize is the first thing we need to get rid of is the Israeli intelligence and the Israeli control over most of the World Bank.
Hey, I agree with you, Skynet, what you just said. I'm just going to read what he says here. Okay. FC says, I'm about to eat dinner, Michelle, but I'll call to join the conversation afterwards. Okay. Skynet says, U.S. is in bed with Israel. I don't disagree with that. Israel made the bed.
So,
that's what Skynet said.
Terrible human. Michelle, listen to me. Do you know what a terrible human Benjamin Netanyahu is and how he bullied the Palestinians?
Yeah, he keeps tearing down the houses of the Palestinians, even if the houses are built to code.
Okay, when you look at the United Nations, here's my question. When we have here's my question. If the United Nations didn't exist, those people would be left with no voice because they can't defend themselves against a bully like Israel. So the United Nations is the only choice at this point who can even defend the local people there against the Israeli bullies.
FC says, or actually Mr. Laugh says, I love Israel and the Jews. I am a good boy. Private Consciousness says, out on the wire, it's funny how they execute the propaganda sometimes, isn't it? Question mark. LOL. By the way, I've been working on presenting a video about Kim Jong-un for a few weeks. Hopefully I'll post it out sometime soon. Well, let me ask a related question.
Learn is a great person, in my opinion.
All right, let me ask you a question. All right, now, Hungarian Prime Minister has said he does not want any more migrants in his country. And yet, the migrants keep marching into all the EU countries. France is overrun. Germany is overrun. Italy is a basket case. Greece is a nutcase and broke at the same time. And yet, why hasn't anyone said in Europe to these migrant countries, stay home? We can't take any more of you. Yet, these people don't come in that want to integrate into our society. They insist on keeping the Sharia law. They insist on following their customs of their country. They don't want to become Germans or Italians or French or Greek or Bulgarian or Hungarian. They insist on staying Islamic refugees. Now, the United Nations is saying, well, we have to take them in. It's our responsibility. No, it's not our responsibility. If a country says they want to take them in, that's fine. But if a person says, sorry, I can't take any more in, that's fine too. They were trying to tell the United States, you have to take all the Mexicans coming in. It's required. And no, it's not. No, it's not. We can't take it anymore.
Would you like to hear my point of view?
Well, you tell me.
Would you be okay?
Why does not individual countries have the right to say no to what the United Nations is saying is that they have to do?
Do you want me to give my point of view?
Okay, go ahead, finish.
Hello? My point of view is this. If a country goes to war with another country, and then once the war is over, if the country that had all the damage done to them those people want to immigrate to the country with the least, that invaded them, then that country should accept them because that country damaged that other country in the first place. That correlates to Europe because Europe colonized, marginalized, and invaded the rest of the world for so many years. They colonized Africa. Look what they did in South Africa. They invaded so many countries during the 90s, along with Bush and along with the Americans. They caused so much damage. So now, why should they have a right to say they don't want any migrants? Well, please forgive me, but they're the ones who caused the damage in the first place. So they should be responsible and say, you know what, we're going to take responsibility and we're either going to take the migrants or we're going to fix these people's countries. But one thing that the right-wing media is leaving out is that those same countries that are getting migrants are the same countries that colonized and invaded and damaged and bombed those underdeveloped and underprivileged countries for so many decades. Look at what the British Empire did. They colonized India, all these countries. They did so much damage and stole so much from so many people. The rich fucking queen did it all. And then the Indians rose up when Mahatma Gandhi and the rest of the world rose up after all the damage the British did. And India is still damaged. Don't you understand that the reason we're getting so many migrants is because we damaged those countries in the first place. If we hadn't damaged them, they wouldn't be immigrating so much. Aren't you understanding what's wrong with you?
All right, let's try something a little closer to home for you. Turkey damaged Bulgaria. So why isn't Bulgaria migrating to Turkey and saying, "You're gonna fix us up, bitch. You're going to give us a
They
place
are.
to sleep, bitch, and you're gonna basically love it, bitch." That's what you're saying. Okay, we made mistakes in the colonial period. There's no doubt. Okay, everybody knows that. I know it. You know
Not
it.
just the colonial period. We made mistakes all the way up till the 90s, and even now. Even Obama. Look at all the wars Obama started. Do you know how much damage that did to those countries? And look at Bush, all the wars he did. Do you have any idea how? And even Hillary, the war she started. Do you know how much damage that caused? Don't you realize?
FC says, it's actually part of another chat. Oh, unaware, you were so right. Israel is a king of propaganda. If you don't agree with everything they say, you are just anti Semitic. It is incredible how they twist
agree.
things to keep the agenda going. Then he said before that, the Kim family are all Masons. They won't work on behalf of the NWO. If they were really an enemy of the U.S., or hell, even South Korea would have even executed him when they were being schooled, his sisters in schooled in Switzerland. Yes, Kim Jong Un went to school in Switzerland, which is a non is not part of the European Union, but is a uh, they're kind of like a, but they're not. Okay, they're not in the EU,
You're
but they're
misunderstanding.
participating in some of the
So,
EU stuff.
can I talk?
Go ahead.
Clearly, most of the people in your chats agree with me. Clearly, most of the people in your chats agree with me and disagree with you. And this is not against you personally, but it's against what you have been bought to believe, which is all lies. Clearly, everyone, even me, is agreeing at least on the basics. And here is the basics. Israel is not the good guy. Israel has done a lot of damage. And every time someone speaks out against Israel, oh, we're racist, anti-Semitic. I mean, I'm sorry.
I'm
They
not
need to
actually
be held
getting the
accountable.
impression that they're all saying that they disagree with me. I'm not getting saying that they don't agree with me either. But here's what they're saying. Here's a couple ones. Skynet says, "Shut this Zoomer up." A Zoomer, I guess, must mean you. A wannabe baby boomer kind of thing. Skynet says, "Someone send over an older man to molest him." What? FC says, "Switzerland equal Jesuits." Right. Martin is dumb. That's from Bob Dog. He's been drinking too much of the NWO Kool-Aid. NWO flavored red cherry
Okay,
explosion
Michelle, can I
Kool-Aid.
talk? I want to talk. I want a chance to defend myself against those lies. Okay, first of all, Michelle, I clearly heard you say that you support Israel and that the UN is attacking Israel. We all clearly heard you support Israel just 10, 15 minutes ago, and now everyone is pretty much saying that Israel is bad. So the people are disagreeing with you.
Well,
Can
the
you
only
admit
thing
you are
is that,
humble enough to admit you are wrong? Are you humble enough to admit you are wrong?
and Mr. Laugh said, "I would never agree with Merton about anything just on principle." Okay.
Are you humble enough to admit you were wrong about supporting Israel? Or at least
I don't know. Israel does some stupid shit. I'm not gonna lie.
so why
Benjamin Netanyahu has done
before?
some really stupid shit.
Michelle, I need you to make up your damn mind. On one you can't support both sides. On one side of the story, you were totally supporting Israel, and you were saying that the Muslims are the bad guys. You were saying Islam is the bad guy and trying to take over. Now you're supporting the other side of the story. Which side are you on? Can you please tell us?
Right. Skynet says just because we disagree with Michelle and Israel doesn't mean we don't agree with her and Martin being an NWO Kool-Aid drinker.
No, but I want to get your response, Michelle, to what I just said.
Well, let me start by first of all saying there's things Israel does that I do not agree with. Benjamin Netanyahu as part of the Israeli Defense Force has been doing things and atrocities to the Palestinians that I do not like, including making them homeless. Even when the Palestinians build their houses to code, they bulldoze them down. They sit there and they basically treat the Palestinians like garbage. And that's not, first of all, their land to basically treat the Palestinians like garbage. It is called the Palestinian Occupied Territories because they were lands that belonged to the Palestinians prior to the 1962 Yom Kippur massacre. That is why I do not only hate the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu has continued to actually push that agenda. And I'm also surprised that the United Nations, of all the people of the world, haven't said, we are going to have a discussion to have the Palestinians have their own country. We did it for Israel in 1943. We should do it for them now. 1945.
Here's my question to you. Are you bipolar? Are you mentally bipolar?
No. I am
why did you literally just change your mind within the rank of 20 minutes? You literally did a full-on 360. I can listen to this. You literally just 20 minutes ago, you were literally saying that Israel is under attack and that the Muslims and the Palestinians are the bad guys. And now, only 20 minutes later, you do a full 360 to the other point of view.
Excuse me, if you do a 360, that means you didn't change your viewpoint. You basically just spun around in a complete circle. But I didn't actually... Hold on a minute. Let me finish. I'm not saying that I support Israel. Okay. I said the United States has supported Israel since its creation of the Israel country. And I keep getting the years mixed up. I think it was 1945. Something like that. Alright, the point is...
let me speak. I literally heard you say that you were pretty much implying that Israel is the victim and that the Muslims are the perpetrator. Now you're changing it, that the Muslims are the Palestinian and the Muslims are the victims, and that Israel is the Israel is the perpetrator. You clearly, if you go back and listen to this, you clearly had a change of mind within the past 20 minutes. Can you admit that you had a change of mind? Because I spoke the truth. Can you admit that?
Oh, brother. All right, listen, Pop.
Just admit you were wrong. Just admit you had a change of mind. Just admit I was right.
About what? About the fact that Israel has been known to cause problems? I did not lie about that. I said they do, especially the current Especially the the government of Israel is doing all kinds of diabolical atrocities. There's no doubt about that.
I have the sound bites. I have the sound bites. You originally were basically saying that Israel is under attack by the UN and by the Muslims, and that the Muslims are trying to take over anything. Now you've changed your story that the Muslims and the Palestinians are under attack and that Israel is the bad guy. You clearly have to admit that you at least changed your mind a little bit. Can you admit that? If you can't admit it, it shows that you lack the sense of being humble.
Okay, I mean, the point is that
Admit. I want you to hear. I want to hear you say I was wrong.
Nope, I'm not gonna say I was wrong.
So you're not humble human. I just think
the
you're
cell
right.
is actually right because the record speaks for itself that Benjamin Netanyahu is not doing anything to make peace with the Palestinians. Nope.
Okay, this is what I'm getting at something totally different. What I'm trying to get at is this. You originally were trying to say that Israel is the victim of the UN, of a United Nations attack. And I am disagreeing with what you originally said. And I am the one who is mentally stable and who is carrying the same point of view without changing my mind. I am saying this, that the United Nations is not attacking Israel. All the United Nations wants is a two-state resolution. And the United Nations is not pushing their own agenda because they are letting Israel and Palestine alone decide what they will do. But the United Nations is, because the American media are up in arms, saying that the United Nations, the right-wing media is saying that Israel is under attack. Every 5 seconds, all they say, Israel is under attack. Israel is under attack. Israel is under attack. That's what Fox News is constantly saying. And 20 minutes ago, you were taking the side of Fox News. Now you're taking the other side of the view, the left-wing point of view, is that the Palestinians are the victim. 20 minutes ago, you were literally taking the side of Fox News, and this makes sense because you watch a lot of right-wing stuff. I know you do. But anyways, are you still there?
Let me just say this way, okay? You want to talk about bipolar? You want to talk about bipolar? There is a country, and its name starts with the letter I, and he works for the group that starts with the letter U. It unfortunately originally was sponsored by another country that started with the letter U. And unfortunately, this little country keeps telling the friends at the big letter U that, oh, we're basically being victims, right? However, their own defense forces go out of their way and they destroy properties and assets of other people in occupied lands. Let me finish.
I'm agreeing.
Let me finish.
With you.
Okay.
But
the United States, which does have a lot of influence from this little country that starts with I, has gone to the United Nations Security Council and said over and over again, we need to protect little country I because they're special. Well, their own political forces in the little country that starts with letter I has done everything they can to piss off every single one of its neighbors, including Iran, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Lebanon, and probably a few more, all because they think that the United States is going to bail them out. Which it more than likely does, because the United States has got a lot of residents from little country I in its own bastions. I
No.
don't agree
Hey,
with Little Country Eye's attitude. But I certainly
I want
don't
to ask
agree with
you a
Little
question.
Country Eye's leadership that's doing this stupid baloney that they're doing. And if I was the United
I want to ask
States,
you
I would take the equivalent of a big leather strap, flip that little country on the table, and give him a serious whipping. Because you cannot have both sides and be victorious. You either
I
A
have a
are going to
question
follow the
for you.
rules and respect the Palestinians if the Palestinians want to become their own state, or
I
if
have a
you're going to
question
be
for you.
anti-Palestinian, then you're going to have to accept that you basically pissed off everybody else in the process.
I have a
That's
question
it.
for you.
That's all there is to it.
I
There
have
is
a
no in
question
between.
for you. I have a question for you. Do you like Fox News?
I watch a lot of content from Fox News. I share a lot of videos from Fox News and Infowars. Yes.
I want to talk. Okay, I want to talk now. One thing that Fox News and InfoWars have in common is that they portray Israel as the victim and the Muslims as the perpetrators, and they defend Israel. So I am not surprised that literally 20 minutes ago, I clearly heard you defending Israel, and now you've had a change of heart.
I had to
But
change
I
order because of one reason. You didn't ask me about the current regime, which is the problem. Now, I'm also going to
not the
say this.
problem
Let
because
me
the
let's look at the
regimes have
questions that are coming up on the screen. Here we go. Mr. Left said, Bob Dog shows a smiley face. Trump is Israel's biggest supporter. Every single Christian acknowledges that Jesus Christ of Nazareth is Israeli. And he was the one who
not.
shared his faith system through the Acts of the Apostles with everybody, Jews and Gentiles alike. That's the reason why every Christian by nature should be thankful for the gift that Jesus gave, which is true. However, let's go. Mr. Left says Trump adores Israel. He loves money more than anything, and Jews have lots of money. Yeah, that's not true.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
do.
do. Where did the
That's
Jews
true.
come up with the money? They steal
So
it.
now I have a question. I have a question for Michelle.
What?
Knowing all of this, can you still morally support Trump, or are you starting to realize that maybe Trump is not a good guy? Can you admit you were wrong to support Trump, knowing all this that everyone communicated with you tonight? Can you admit you were wrong with supporting Trump?
I'm not wrong supporting Trump for the most part. I'm not saying he's perfect. I am not saying he's an angel. I am not saying that he is infallible like the Pope is. I understand he's a human being. He has human feelings and human desires like everyone else does. I don't agree
Yeah.
with everything he does, but I gotta admit, and he did say that we're going to make this country great again. Look at the low unemployment. We have seen much lower unemployment. Look at the
Here's what
number
you're
of
missing.
potential
Here's
opportunities.
what you're
Hold
missing.
on, let me finish. Look at the potential things that we have done to make this country better by bringing companies back here.
Here's what
Look
you're
at,
missing.
however,
I
since
wanna
now
I
we're getting
wanna
into
talk
another
about the
area,
topic
and
at
I
hand.
want to basically put a big stake in the Democrats' heart
Michelle, you
and their
talk too much.
baloney and their
Can
pomp
I
and
make my
circus
point?
about impeachment. They have no grounds for impeachment at all. Period.
I want to
That
make my
doesn't
point.
mean that they don't
My,
have a right to be pissed off at the
okay,
guy.
getting off topic.
But
Getting
let's
off
just
topic.
be
You're getting
honest, and
off
this is what
topic. You're
I'm going to
getting off
say to
topic.
the
I'm gonna make my
Democrats.
point. You're
Here
getting
is
off
this.
topic. You're off topic.
Democrats,
You're off
if
topic.
you really seriously want him to get out of office by 2020, then you damn well better make sure that you got a good candidate that runs against him. because in 2020 is the election. By the time you're done with all this impeachment dog and pony show, you might as well find a good candidate with a good solid platform and a good support base that everybody likes, and they can seriously beat him at the polls. And then he won't be president anymore, and you can get back to legislate instead of investigate, which you should have been doing from day one. This country's a mess. You need to legislate and not investigate. Get your jobs done. Period.
You're off topic. I want you just changed the discussion. We were talking about Israel. And here's my question. Why is Trump just doing the same thing as Obama, and why is Trump, he may say he's against welfare, but why is Trump giving billions and billions and billions in welfare to Israel, and Israel doesn't have to pay it back? Why is Trump still giving welfare to Israel?
Free I can't
money
speak for that. I don't know the reason behind that. But I can say this. Barack Obama basically wanted to poke his finger in the eye of Israel. Okay?
He was right.
Because Barack Obama did not, and obviously if he ran again, would not support Israel at all. As far as why does Trump support Israel, I'm not absolutely sure.
Here is where you're sounding bipolar, because just 5 minutes ago you were clearly against Israel.
I am still against Israel. I'm against the regime of what Israel has done.
So if you're against everything that Israel has done,
under the current regimes, yes.
I want to speak right now and ask you the right question. If you're against everything Israel has done, between Trump's idea of giving billions in free money to the current Israeli regime and Barack Obama's idea of not giving them money and forcing them to treat the Palestinians with respect, in terms of this, don't you agree with Barack Obama more than Trump on this issue?
Okay.
Can you admit that? Can you admit it that you agree with Obama on this issue, or is your pride
Let me read you what the latest comments are. Israel loves Trump's out on the water. LOL. Oh yeah, a little further up here before it scrolls up the screen. Fox News and InfoWars are just two of a million other news outlets that say Israel can do no wrong. And any media outlet of mainstream importance is owned by the you-know-whos. Yeah, I know that. Israel loves Trump out on the water. LOL. Mr. Left says there are no good options. Support Trump because he's funny. They are all going to fuck things up more than they help. Talking about the Democrats. Out on the water says, LOL, Michelle, you are as programmed as Pop is. FC says, exactly, laugh. Trump 2020 for comedy's sakes. FC says, I don't know where I was going to say the same thing, but we had this conversation so many times yet. Michelle continues to kowtow to Trump propaganda. It's amazing how much she knows about the world. It's amazing how much she knows about the world, that she buys all the talking points. The data she quotes are all baloney. Well, I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I try to keep them based on facts. At least I try.
Here's what I want to ask you. And first of all, why do you always read the comments when I'm talking and you never hear what I have to say? I've never heard you hear what I have to say. You're always reading the comments while I'm talking.
I read the comments after you took a pause.
This is wasting my time. Second of all, I wanted to respond to what the people are saying. What people are saying is this. they are noticing inconsistencies, and so am I, in the things you're saying. You are displaying bipolar behavior. On one, you originally, and it's not your fault, but you originally said you were for Israel. Then you said you were against the current Israeli regime. Now you're saying that you're for Israel. Listen, Trump is giving billions to Israel, knowing, and Obama wanted to hold Israel accountable, knowing that. Can you admit that you would be more in favor of Obama's solution?
I can only stand behind the facts that we know that we give money to Israel as a subsidy. That's all I can tell you. All right. I
Is
know
that
Trump. I
that
know Trump. I do know Trump supports Israel. Yes, I know that.
isn't that bad? Hello?
All right here. Mr. Laugh says, no, I
This
was
isn't a
talking about
talking.
Trump to Michelle. He's a senile old man who loves money and adoration. Oh, he's not senile, but he does love money and he does love
Can
adoration.
you
He's a material
listen?
boy.
I
I'm a material boy.
Okay, can I talk and can you actually listen for once? Why
Go
the fuck
ahead.
you
Go
never
ahead.
listen to? No, you never fucking listen to what I have to say. You're always reading the comments and you're not even paying attention to what I'm saying. And the funny thing is that I'm saying the same thing that your audience is saying. We're all telling you that you are being brainwashed by Fox News and by Alex Jones, who support Israel. Yet, on one hand, you're saying, listen, there's clearly two different point of views. There's the Fox News and Alex Jones and right-wing point of view that Israel needs to be supported, patted on the back, and that the Palestinians and the Muslims are the bad guys. And you, at many times, have to admit that you have supported that right-wing point of view and that Fox News point of view of pat Israel on the back, give them the billions, and treat everyone else like crap. On the other hand, we have the truth is that the Muslims are not the bad guys, first of all. Second of all, the Israelis have attacked the Muslims. And lastly, the only reason the Muslims are even taking over in the first place is because of the wars that America and Israel started and created. So if you want to get mad at anyone for the migrants and all the immigrants coming in, it should be Israel and America, because they're the ones who did the damage and funded all those damages to all those countries,
All
because
right.
that's who they are.
Okay, Mateo ETC or LITC says, I'm only for Trump because Tulsi Gabbard disappointed me and Bernie is too socialist for everyone. Also, the comedy. Mateo LITC says all mainstream media reads the same scripts. Adam Wire said Bernie would be a disaster. Mr. Laugh said, I just left word to our robot overlords. They will probably be substantially better rulers. Mateo LITC says anyone would be a disaster. Bob Dog says, and Martin's still talking, who is listening? Adam Wire said mainstream media is a corporation. Correct, it is. Mateo LITC says, if AI starts taking over, I'm leaving. Going where? That's why I asked that question. Mateo LITC says exactly OTW. Mr. Laugh says, I just tune Martin out and pay attention to the chat. Mr. Laugh says, where are you going to go, Mateo? Off the earth? Forever Consciousness says, OTW, I'm sorry, but unless things change rapidly, I have to support Trump for comedy's sake. By the way, OTW article already just started his new podcast. He's sober and looks good. Gilbert was on yesterday. Mateo LITC says, nah, the other side. Forever Consciousness says, check Ernie's YouTube channel for free episodes. Mateo LITC says, I'm a KMS. And Mr. Laugh says, ha 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 ha. Okay, I guess that's one way to escape. Or you could do like what is that? Oh yeah, the new micronation there. Oh shit. What is it?
Michelle,
Nothing.
you're missing the main point. And I am very frustrated because I am trying to get a very simple point across to you that you have refused to acknowledge the whole time. And the simple point that I'm getting across to you is that you have two different opinions, whether you want to admit
I
it or
also
not.
happen to have two different body spirits. And Michelle and I are two separate entities, and we do talk about these topics in private. Yes, absolutely. And
Here's what I want to ask you.
oh,
Which
what
one
is
of
that?
the
That is the name of that micronation that's they're
Can I
creating.
finish my thing?
The star
Here's what I
micronation.
want to ask you. Which
No,
one of you? Here's what
hold
I
on a
want to
minute.
ask you.
I'm
Which
trying to
one of
remember
you?
what Escardia. That's one way you can get the hell out of Earth is join Escardia. Yeah, but where's they wanted to build
Here's
a.
what, here. Here's what
Uh,
I want to ask you. How come during many of your videos, and I have been watching you for a long time, so I can confirm this for a total fact. How come during many of your videos and many of your live streams, at certain instances, you have supported Israel, and at certain instances you have supported Palestine? Clearly, you have two different opinions you're working with, so we need you to fess up and finally make up your mind. But before you do, what we want to ask you is, you watch a lot of Fox News, and you watch a lot of Alex Jones. Don't you realize that Fox News and Alex Jones are
anyway, Pop,
just...
listen, we got about 10 minutes before. I want to go
Okay,
over.
this is why I'm getting fucking pissed
Hold on a
off at
minute,
you.
because
I'm
I gotta
fucking
start dinner in about before I go on to play my World
I
of
have
Warcraft game.
never
Let
met
me
a more
finish.
ignorant...
I'm almost done. Okay, so you got 10 minutes to wrap it up because I gotta start dinner and then I'm gonna play my game at 8 o'clock, and that takes an hour for
Are
the
you
chicken
even
to
gonna
cook.
fucking listen to what I have to say during
Go
this 10
ahead,
minutes?
finish it.
And I want you to say, I was wrong. I want you to be humble enough and admit you were wrong. Otherwise, you're showing a lack of humility and you are proving yourself as a narcissist to everyone. You need to admit you were wrong or you are a narcissist. And I'm going to give the proof that you're dead wrong. Because I have heard you say during tonight and during many videos, and I've been watching you for a long time, so I know that on one hand, you have sided with Fox News and with Alex Jones and taken their stance of being strictly pro-Israel and acting like the Muslims are the bad guy. On the other hand, you have supported the Palestinians. So I want you to finally make up your mind. Do you support Alex Jones and Fox News' point of view of being pro-Israel or not? It's time for you to get up off the fence and make up your mind and tell us all the truth. Which side are you on?
Oh my god, Pop, I already told you how I feel about it. I already explained it to you. I clarified my point.
So my question to you is this: if that's how you feel about it, why did you
Say it by the phone. Go ahead, phone.
Hey, Michelle, it's Skynet. How you doing? Hey, had to call in. Just got to get right off my chest.
Yeah.
The Muslims.
Thank you for calling in.
Yep.
Because
The
Pop is driving me nuts.
The Muslims and the Jews are both on the same fence. Okay? Anybody that tells you that they're different, they're not. Who blew up the World Trade Center? Muslims and Jews. All right?
Okay.
You got any comment, Martin?
Here's my question: why has Michelle at certain times been totally pro-Israel? And here's my
Everybody
question,
makes
Michelle.
mistakes, Martin.
And I never said I was totally pro-Israel.
And she never said she was totally pro-Israel, Martin.
But you still played along with the... You have clearly changed your mind back and forth a few times. And here's the real issue. On one hand,
yeah, that's what they do. They're good at getting people like you, Michelle, other people, even me. I was on Israel's side for a long time. But then I came to the realization that they're the same fucking person.
Well, let me tell you one thing. As far as the situation, we can compare it with something in a World of Warcraft. You know what that is, right?
I want to fucking talk, and I want to finish my fucking sentence, and you're going to...
Shut up, Martin. Shut the fuck up. Go ahead, Michelle.
All right.
Talk over him.
And I'm not going to talk about it, but I am going to make it quick.
All right.
You're like me. Do you see what is going on in the real world is like what the Alliance is doing versus what the Horde is doing, which the Horde is focusing on individual self-governing of the individual members of the Horde?
I don't think I have a clear picture of what's going on in the world. I can guess what's going on in the world, and I can make assumptions based on history.
Right, that's what you gotta do.
But to answer your question, is the United Nations like World of Warcraft? Well, I really don't know the lore of World of Warcraft. I just know who's the bad guy and who I'm going to kill. You know what I mean? Everything else, like, honestly, Michelle, I never read any of the quest dialogue. It's like, yep, give me my quest. I'm going to go out there, get it done, come back. I have no idea who the main people are. I have no idea why they're fighting. I don't know why the Horde doesn't like Alliance and vice versa. But that being said, you know, we don't want to go too off the road. We should definitely keep in mind, right, that NATO, United Nations, European Union, Saudi Arabia, Israel are all playing the same card with just a different drummer.
Right. And let's not forget the United States is in there too.
The United States is definitely in there.
10 fucking minutes.
Definitely. You know what? Like, in some ways, I support United States. Whenever 4th of July comes around, I get real patriotic. I like playing all that music. Whenever there's Veterans Day, I like to take a moment and listen to some veteran stories and hear about, you know, veterans and their time in World War II or Vietnam, and I try to get a feel for what the person was that was placed there to fight. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys, I'm not saying that Trump won't do it, okay, but I'm telling you almost without uncertainty, if you vote in a Democrat's going to take it a conflict within the first 2 years. Within the first 2 years, we'll probably be in like 4 different places. It'll be a Cold War all over again. It's a fucking nightmare.
Right. Well,
really, because they're no, I want to talk, and I want a fucking chance, because I had 10 minutes to speak, and I could
You've
barely
been
start my
talking
thing
on this fucking broadcast for like 2.5 hours, Martin.
You have.
Are you
it's
insane,
almost been
man?
2 hours, Pop. It almost has been 2 hours.
Yeah, you've been going on and on, dude.
You're talking over me. It's talking over me.
So why doesn't Skynet get to ask you some questions?
He does, but I want to wrap
Where
things
is
up.
the man that molested you, Martin? Where is that guy now?
I want to talk first.
I want to know, where's the man that sucked your dick, Martin? Why did you let a 32-year-old suck your dick, Martin?
All I want to know is he's not going to be seen anytime soon. That's all you need to know.
Listen, she's going to end her stream. She's going to play World of Warcraft for all of her fans. You're not going to call in. You're going to leave her the fuck alone. And if you think about it, just let us know in the comments where we can find that 32-year-old that sucked your dick, because I'm sure he's a better conversation expert than you are. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you guys have a good night. Michelle, I love you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Well,
Can I speak?
Well, I could say one thing, Pop. I got it.
Stop. Let me speak. Let me speak.
I
And
have
you
been
know
letting
what's
you talk for almost 2 hours.
You haven't. I've literally been most of that time I've been interrupted either by you, a comment, or a phone call, and I could never even start to get my point across. It would have taken me 10 minutes if it wasn't for your constant interruptions.
You
I
got
had
2
to-
minutes. So spit it out real quick. Induce vomiting, please.
Shut up. Okay, shut up. Thank you. First of all, I have been patient for 2 hours and I haven't had the real chance to speak because I'm constantly being interrupted and talked over. And lastly, what I find incredibly rude is that most of the time I've been talking, you weren't even paying attention to what I was saying, but you were reading the comments and asking me questions without even listening or perceiving what I'm saying. Even though it's been
Actually,
two
I haven't
hours, I
listened to you,
don't
Pop. I've been listening the
even
whole time.
even though it's only been 2 hours, I only got 20 minutes to speak, and most of the other time was you interrupting or making me start over again. So now, let me do this real quick and get my point across.
You
My
got 1
point
minute.
is this. No, 1 minute is not enough to get my point across. Give me 3 minutes. I want 3 minutes.
You got
3
to
minutes.
7:05. Clock is ticking. Tick tock. Let's go.
But I want to make sure that you're listening and that you're not reading the comments. Are you going to be listening to what I'm saying?
And I'm still reading the comments.
No, I want you to listen with your undivided attention because you're not going to fucking get it otherwise. Okay, now listen with your undivided attention only to me, and so I can at least get a chance. During this whole show, my rights have been marginalized, and all that happens is you never pay attention to anything I truly say, and even though you say you do, you don't. So now I'm gonna speak my mind, and I will be given the respect that I, as a basic human, deserve. First of all, this is the point I've been trying to get across. You, throughout this live stream and throughout your videos over the past several years, clearly have presented in some cases different point of views on the same issue, and you've changed your mind again and again and again. Throughout your videos, in some videos, you have been pro-Israel, and you have in some videos you have.
Go ahead, call you in the air. Save me, please.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey.
How you doing, my dear? It's FC.
I'm getting fucking pissed at you. What in the actual fuck is wrong
Alright,
with you?
yeah. Hey, Martin. I called this specific moment on purpose.
To fucking talk, and you're not even gonna give me a fucking chance to speak.
I'm a little bitch.
You can't even get my point across. You are being disrespectful, and you haven't even given me a fair chance to speak.
You've been talking for almost an hour, or however long you've been on. I don't know.
You think this is confusing, guys? Sometimes when I talk to him in private, he talks to me for about 5 hours.
That's it?
And it's not much different than what he's talking about now. That's why I have to turn Skype off when I'm playing the game. And you know what's funny? I can't turn Skype off on the Windows 10. So that's why.
Retarded? I'm gonna be filing lawsuits against your channel because I am being disrespected and made fun of. And I'm not kidding. I am talking to a woman named Def Roa, and she has evidence and lawyers ready.
Martin, you couldn't afford a lawyer if you tried.
Against you. Unless
let alone a lawyer who's going to deal with a case that's international. You're a joke.
We are taking it to the United Nations because you have asked them on your channel.
You're such an idiot. You kill me.
Oh, I know. It's just
Martin, why are you such a needy little hoe? Why do you need validation so much? Why did you spend 20 minutes freaking just saying to Michelle, admit you're wrong, admit you're wrong, admit you're wrong, when Michelle didn't even say the things that you said? she was pretty much agreeing with everything that everyone was saying.
Right.
I mean, pretty much everything. So I don't even know what the hell you were talking about.
Can I make my point? Can I be given a chance to actually speak without an interruption until I'm done? Now listen.
No, why don't you just answer the question? Why? How come everyone else heard a different conversation but you? Michele was agreeing with almost every talking point about Israel, and you kept saying, "Oh, well, you gotta say you're wrong. You gotta say you're wrong." Why? Why the hell should you say she's wrong when she pretty much agreed with everything?
No, you're misunderstanding. She originally said she was. I heard her say originally that she was pro-Israel and that the Muslims were the bad guys, but that was what she originally tried to imply. And I know for a fact she did because she watches Fox News and she watches Alex Jones, and that's what they've been telling her. That's what she originally tried to say, but then when her audience came along and educated her, only then did she change her mind to support the Palestinians as well. But originally,
Martin, I've had conversations with her, and she's, huh?
What?
I said I've had conversations with Michele about Israel and Palestine in the past, and she said the same exact thing every time. She did not. I don't think she changed her mind on anything. It sounded like exactly everything I've heard her say in the past.
I've heard her constantly. Now I want to answer your question and make my point. Please just let me finish and then speak, because during this whole live stream, I haven't been allowed one case where I haven't been interrupted. Each time I keep getting interrupted. If I wasn't interrupted, I would have been done way earlier. But everyone keeps interrupting. Now, I want to say it without being interrupted, and it's going to be quick, I promise. All right? So let's get down to the basics. During Michele's years on YouTube and during tonight, Michele has displayed inconsistencies on some of her views. An example of this is Israel, where in one case, Michele has said that Israel is being attacked and persecuted by the United Nations, and that the United Nations is working with the Muslims. I heard Michele say this, and then Michele also says that Israel is a bully and the Palestinians are being persecuted and mistreated. So clearly there are two different point of views that Michele is presenting, and Michele is not the bad guy. The point I'm trying to make is the reason that many people, not just Michele, have different point of views on the same issue is because we watch so many different medias, and we are being bombarded with so many different medias presenting so many different versions of the same story, including Michele. She watches Al Jazeera, but she also watches Fox News and Alex Jones, and Fox News and Alex Jones are presenting her a side of the story about Israel, whereas Al Jazeera and the other medias are presenting her another side of the story about Israel. So at times Michele is just doesn't know who to support anymore, because, and I wasn't trying to attack Michele. This whole time everyone made it seem like I'm trying to attack Michele because they didn't actually let me get to the point. The point I'm trying to make is not against Michele, but it's against all the medias, which are constantly bombarding us with so many different versions that at some point we just don't know what to support, including Michele. She's not sure whether she should listen to Fox News, who tells her support Israel, the Muslims are taking over, the immigrants are taking over, or she doesn't know whether instead she should listen to Al Jazeera or someone else, or RT, she doesn't know whether instead she should listen to RT, who's telling her, oh, Israel are the bad guys, the Muslims are the good guys who've been colonized and victimized. So she's listening to so many media, so that's why at times she has displayed inconsistencies in her point of view, as many of us do, because of the media. So the point I'm trying to make, and that I wanted to make this whole 2 hours that I didn't get to make, was this. It's not Michele who's the bad guy. But yes, Michelle has displayed inconsistencies in her views. The problem is our medias who are constantly wrapping us up into left wing and right wing thinking, into pro Israel and anti Israel, pro this, pro that, to the point where we don't even know which side to take anymore.
Time's up! Skynet, your response?
Michelle, I just want you to know that I'm not attacking you personally, but this whole time I was just trying to make the point that yes, you have been proven to be inconsistent. No, it's not your fault. I was just trying to make the point that you are being manipulated by the media, and so is everyone else, to the point where we don't even know our own views
All right,
anymore.
look,
And we
Pop.
come in
Pop,
and say
you've
things.
already said your statement. Okay.
All right,
No one
I'm
else
done.
is.
I'm
No one
done.
else is even
done.
responding to your statement. Except I will read you
No,
the latest
I want
comments
to
that
know
came up
your
on the
response. I
screen.
want to know your response. I want to know your response. Am I right that
FC
most of us are
says
being...
Michelle has agreed with almost, if not everything we have said about Israel. You seem to be the only one who disagrees. Mr. Laugh says just hang up on him, Michelle. Bob Dog says let's give him 2 more hours. Skynet says you're speaking to FC. Skynet, not me. Out on the wire. Okay, show's over. Pop, wrap it up. I do gotta get my dinner started, guys. Honestly, I really do. And then at 8 o'clock or so, I do want to play some World of Warcraft. And I did plan to get that
I
in.
want to, but I want... This is the one thing I want. Other than I got my chance to speak, but now the one thing I want is an answer. For my question to you, Michelle, is this.
FC,
At times,
did you just try calling FC? I know I talked to Skynet and he rang up and I've been
don't interrupt. I'm
please
talking
stop it
right
from
now. Do
before.
not interrupt me. I am getting pissed. I want to ask you the question. At times, you... This,
Pop,
and I want you to answer...
I'm seriously having an Excedrin moment right now, okay? Look.
I have a question for you. For you. My question to you is very simple. Can you... I don't want you to admit you are wrong, but what I want you to admit is this. Can you admit that sometimes the different medias you listen to are presenting different stories, and sometimes you don't know what side to take anymore? Can you admit
I'm
that?
sorry, please forgive me. I seriously had I had to hang up on the guy. I really can't answer the question over and over again. Sorry guys, look, agree. He's actually manipulating my head. Big time. Alright guys, look. Let's go take a break. Let me go get some dinner started. When the dinner's done, we'll get some game in, okay? Now, I know some of you guys do like the game. Some of you do. And obviously, the gaming, we don't play it on Lumi's channel. Oh, you can play it on my channel. If people want to watch the game, do you guys want to watch World of Warcraft on my channel? If you do, we could just go ahead right into the game after Michelle eats dinner. Right. Okay, guys. Okay. Yeah, why don't I just play the game on your channel too, Lumi? That way I don't have to worry about changing everything over. Yeah, just go ahead and play it. So we'll play some World of Warcraft Classic in Battle for Azeroth, whatever the version of the retail one is. I think Bikela seriously wants to kick some Alliance butt. Oh, trust me. Yeah, but alright, that's something for a little while. I'm gonna start dinner first, and then when I get done eating dinner, it'll be about 8:39ish. Okay, and then we'll get some games in. Okay, see you guys a little bit, bro. 9 o'clock.